Welcome back to the We Was Siloed podcast. I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm your other host, Chanel.
Ooh, good Lord, that was loud. And we are
Are
back.
you serious?
No, it was just because you got real close to the mic. You didn't do nothing wrong. And
I'm gonna stay like this so there's no echo.
And we are back to talk about episode 5 of season 2 of Silo called Descent. Before we get into the episode, you can, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can leave us a review. If it's a 5-star review, we'll read it on the show. I didn't check if we had any reviews, so I'm sure Chanel will check. You can also follow us on YouTube. We are streaming live on youtube.com/@WeWasWatching right now. Go to our channel, like our video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when we're going live next. Last week we had a really good audience live, so we appreciate all the interaction. Those of you listening to the podcast, let us know if we interact with them too much. We don't want to, ruin that experience as well. Get a nice little balance. And you can also email the show at wewasdragonspod@gmail.com, and we'll read that on the show as well. And then you can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky @WeWasWatching. And we did get an email last week.
We did.
From Christina. And
Christina.
She said, I wrote a lot, so please feel free, if chosen to, pick apart all my thoughts. No, we're going to read it. You took the time to write it. We're going to read it. Meadows, I don't think at any point she wanted to die. She wanted her freedom to choose what fate comes next. And if that fate led to death, she was fine. I agree. She is.
Yeah, she was. She was like, though, give me my suit today, though. I was like, dang, girl, like, take some time. But she had already thought about it.
I agree. She isn't a hero per se, but she isn't a villain. Was she neutered all these years in judicial, or chose to be oblivious to it all in rebellion, to not hold up what she believes is fraudulent government? She seemed genuinely upset and surprised Bernard would kill her, but she seemed to understand why his brain was conditioned to think that was the right choice. Yeah, she read that order. She knew what was happening. The aftermath of that decision would be interesting because, as you pointed out, it was not his original plan. He may have actually been toying with the idea of stepping outside the order, but I'm pretty sure the pact doesn't prevent anyone from going out. Everything about the decision would have been in his favor, especially if it failed. It would prove his point. Well, we know this episode, which we'll get to, that was not his choice. He did not want to do that. You seem stuck on Bernard waffling after his initial speech of ingenuity, but Meadows flat out said he's a crap politician, and she didn't expect him to be completely, which to me implies he isn't good as politics, but is good at what IT was great at, subterfuge. I think Bernard knew he was about to go through the rebellious phase of the silo and sought her act for the fact that she is better at navigating true situations better than him, because they don't have a mayor. He's out himself in 2 roles. That's true. That is true as well. And he also said he didn't want to be mayor. If you remember, I don't know if anyone went back and watched last season, but like there was supposed to be like a special election or something. And he said he didn't want to be mayor. And I thought he was full of shit. But I think he'd much rather be ruling from the shadows as opposed to being the guy that's in charge and being the guy that's in charge. Like both, like publicly and behind. Sims ended his chances at Shadow the minute he forced the metal situation that Bernard would eventually have time to reflect on and get angry about. That was prophecy. You're absolutely right about that. He used that man's first name. Have no second in command isn't the same as someone able to put the silo above himself. Bernard just made the ultimate sacrifice, which Sims would never, thus not going to be a Shadow. That's true, because last season, when something was going down, Sims made sure that a couple raiders walked Camille to her house, even though Camille was a whole ass raider herself and could, as we see this episode, could handle herself. And Bernard said to him, why would you do that? You're not putting the silo above everything if you're worried about them first. So I thought that was interesting. But why tell Lucas the truth so that he has hope in the darkness and motive and information now to know he was on the right path? Imagine your girl went out to clean. You're sentenced to what is a horrifying fate. You're not expected to survive a year, but then you're told you're not crazy or dumb. What was the intuition is now proven fact. Your whole morale changes because now you have a drive to know more and not be defeated. Well, we learned a little bit about that as well. I love Steve Zahn, Black Girl Couch. Thank you for the email. We appreciate it. And we don't care about the long emails. It was fine. Did we get any
Yeah, and thank
reviews,
you for
Chanel?
the recent review as well, Black Girl Couch. We appreciate you. No, actually, our last review was from Black Girl Couch, so thank you.
Okay. So, Chanel, did you have anything you want to rant about before we get into the episode?
Okay, I actually am coming up with nothing right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, I mean the Lions lost,
Oh yeah, you're a pretend fan now. I forgot.
and one of our running backs is injured, or sorry, our wide receivers got injured.
No running back.
I'm from Detroit, and yeah, I don't know this running back. Okay, wow, look at me. So anyway, I'm just hurt, you know. Wishing Montgomery a swift, easy recovery, and yeah, I mean, you know, I was actually at the Eagles Steelers game watching the score for the Lions game, getting upset and not giving a fuck about the Pennsylvania teams playing. So I had a football weekend.
That's exciting. Not only is Severance coming out, which we're going to review, but the day after Christmas, Squid Game season 2 comes out. So I know a lot of people are excited about that as well. So we got a lot of good TV coming up in the next month, which is exciting.
Mhm.
Star Wars Skeleton Crew is out for all the nerds out there who's enjoying that. Andor season 2 is in January, which is like a Star Wars show that basically talks about the politics of the Empire. It's like pretty woke. So those of you into politics would probably like Andor. That comes out next month. And so yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But today we are here to talk about episode 5.
Wait, I thought of some more stuff.
Okay, what'd you think about?
Oh no, I'm delayed. Okay, sorry, Brandon. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're better now.
I watched stuff over the weekend as well as going to the game. I had a very full weekend. Me and my mom watched Carry On. Did you see the Netflix movie?
No.
Have you heard of it?
I've only watched one Netflix movie in my entire life.
Okay, so the guy from Kingsman, the British young guy that the new What? How is that possible?
I just watch the shows.
Okay, you think that's normal? You think this? Oh, okay. I'm like, what is happening? No, Netflix has decent movies, but anyway, it was like the #1 movie, and it was the British guy from Kingsman, like the British Mark Wahlberg, and then he was, and oh, am I glitching again?
Keep going. You okay?
Okay, he's American in the movie. He made a joke about how British people say Happy Christmas in the beginning. I was like, oh, we get it, you're British. And so anyway, the bad guy in the movie, I don't want to reveal it, but the bad guy in the movie was a guy that is interesting to be a bad guy because he doesn't do a bad job, but he's so interesting. It's a very famous person, but it's like a little, I guess you can look up the cast. So is it a spoiler if I say who the bad guy is?
Yes.
If you can look it up.
It's a spoiler.
Okay. Well, anyway, he is it's not really because it's just like a real halfway through, but like who anyway. The point is that my mom was like, he can grow his hair as long as he wants to. He's not ever gonna be a bad guy to me. So I think that's when you see who it is, it's very funny she said that. And it was decent. It was like the first, like them setting up the movie was the most boring part because they're trying to get you like all invested in this like couple that you don't really care about. But then I think like the second half of the movie I actually liked. And then it was one of those things where like he kept trying shit and everything he tried didn't work. And people like literally gave up and my family gave up mid-movie. But I was like, I just want to see this through. And it was literally a terrifying movie about how easily people could airplane could not be safe to fly on. Like that's basically what it's on. Carry on. And then I start the madness with Coleman Domingo. Have you seen the preview?
Oh, you glitching real bad now.
And
No,
I'm
now you
sneezing on
good.
camera.
The
Okay,
sneeze
still
fixed
messed
it.
up. So the madness on Netflix starring Coleman Domingo. The reason why I like it is because you can tell there's black writers in the room. Like him and Dion Cole have interactions as like very like rich, well-paid black men, and it feels authentic to how I think they would actually talk. It doesn't feel like weird or like Tyler Perry written. So anyway, that is something I'm like still in the middle of. But that whole show is like about him being wrong, like framed for something, but like it's all racially charged. And I think what I like about it the most is that there's these moments when he's like the only black person in these spaces and he has a reason to be paranoid, but like it can kind of give the feeling that you can have sometimes when you're in a space. Like for example, yesterday, I was driving from Philly to Pittsburgh, and I made the big mistake of taking the savings by renting an electric vehicle. And so I had to stop at a Sheetz and sit for like an hour and a half and charge the car. And when I went into the Sheetz, I realized like, oh, I'm in the middle of Pennsylvania. Like, where the fuck am I at? Like, I just really started to realize I was in a place where there might be little black people. And that's kind of how it can feel sometimes. So I like that show is like, if you're watching it, you're getting a piece of like the paranoia you can have when you're like, all right, at any given time, these people could hate me or they could not care. So anyway, Brandon, I think you should watch The Madness at the very least. I think you would like it.
Okay, I'll add it to the list.
That's it. That's all I got.
No, that wasn't bad. That was, look at that, 12 minutes. That's good for you. Season 2, episode 5, Descent. I thought this episode was my least favorite episode of the season, but also very interesting.
I liked it the most.
Really?
I liked it. I was like, this is getting good. I said, oh, it's getting so good.
No, I still loved it. It just was my least favorite of the season. I thought it was a lot of exposition and plot moving, which is good, but not a whole lot actually happened this episode, which is fine because it's a 10 episode. Chanel dropped for a second, but it's a 10 episode series. So, season. So there's going to be some episodes that just move the plot along, which is fine with me. It's just it just didn't have the moments. Although I do have a big prediction to make at some point in this episode, which I'll make when we get there. But Chanel, what did you think of this episode?
Okay, if I'm not frozen, let me know if I am. I tried to literally, I'm at the point where I turned everything off. I paused everything that's using Wi-Fi besides my computer and my phone, and I'm like closing things in the background. And this happens every week, guys. I did tell Brandon that I will promise to upgrade my internet in the new year, so we can look forward to me not glitching anymore. And I don't know why I just now thought of that. Like, oh yeah, I could actually have better internet, and that might be the problem. I liked it because I think I like pushing. I feel like stuff is actually happening now in terms of what it's setting up. Like I've been I'm pretty sure Juliet is going to make it back to the silo at some point. Like that's been her whole goal. And so I feel like we got closer to that happening, even if it hasn't quite like happened just now. And then I liked having more information about Solo. Like that we got a little bit more done as far as like the stuff after Judge Meadows. I like that Tommy didn't give any speeches. Like it just really this episode was I don't know, I don't know, I liked it.
No, I liked it. It's just I don't think I've watched a bad episode of Silo, so I won't ever say that. It just wasn't
Fair.
my favorite.
Yeah.
But I do have a big prediction, which I'll get to. So, Chanel, do you want to start in Silo 17 or Silo 18? Do you remember which is which?
18. Let's start at 18 this time.
All right. So we pick up.
Wait, let's start in 17. 17 is the main one. 17 is the first one, right?
18 is the first one, I think.
18 is Common's silo.
Yes, 18 is Common silo.
Okay, that's what I meant. I want to start with the big silo.
Okay, we'll start with the big silo. So, it starts with a mob forming, and the mob is getting ready to march down the silo to get the mechanical 4, but they hiding on one of the floors so you can't see him. And McLean's fucked up. She's hurting because she old, and old people shouldn't be running like that. And she's like, and Walker was like, I thought it was gonna be me. And McLean was like, well, it's gonna be one of us. And I
think she also fell or something. Something that happened.
Yeah, and yeah, I think you're right. And she said that they might have a way home. But and Walker's like, oh, the Porters, you still cool with them? She's like, I mean, they owe me a favor, so we can at least see what they got to say. And so they had she's like, but we got to make it down 2 more levels. And so they make it down 2 more levels to get to the Porters. Then we cut to the Simses, Camille and Robert, in their house. And I actually have this scene because I thought it was one of the best scenes on the show.
There's no way to argue it wasn't you.
I don't see how. He doesn't know the name of my listeners, but he knows the hallmarks. He clearly traced the campaign to impeach Meadows back to me.
Mom? Mom?
Just a minute, honey.
There's a man in the kitchen.
That little boy is traumatized. Last year, this crazy white woman is in your house, holding your mama up at gunpoint. And this year, a white man is in your house, in your kitchen, in your refrigerator, going through shit.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yep.
Can I help you with that?
Can't remember the last time I made my own coffee. I don't speak about Mayor Johns often, but she always made her own coffee. She said doing the everyday tasks of the ordinary people of the silo helped her feel connected to them when nothing else did. This job, you see, requires me to have a different perspective than anybody.
Here, let me. That machine's finicky.
And I'm supposed to be pretty good with machines.
Tim Robbins is so menacing in this show because he's like so calm and like demure. Isn't that one of those words y'all TikTok people say, demure? He's so calm and demure, but he's always like very sinister at the same time.
You used to work with Rob, correct?
I used to work for him, as he likes to remind me.
Does he discuss work with you?
Robert finds I'm not much interested in that work anymore. I have my job in IT, and I have my son. The pact says mothers are a vessel to deliver our children into the world, just as the silo is a vessel for the people. In our family, we take that to heart.
That was Proverbs 3:16.
Your family reads the pact together. I think you told me.
Every night.
Would you mind getting your copy of the pact from me?
Sure.
You betrayed my trust, Rob. You made me do something I didn't want to do. You will no longer be head of judicial security. You will not be my shadow. But you're too valuable to sideline. So you'll take Mary's job. You'll be judge. Place your hand on the pact and repeat after me.
You be a patsy.
I know that hurt.
That man wanted the big job so bad, and he realized he done fucked up.
And he came in on his day off and said, "By the way, you're never gonna get that job, buddy. As a matter of fact, you don't even have your job anymore." That's crazy.
We got a chat from Dr. Deep saying, "LOL, y'all, no doubt traumatized." Yeah, that little boy. I mean, how many people are gonna bust up in his house where his little boy finds him? Like, if this happened one more time, you're gonna have to give them up to Silo Child Protective Service, SCPS.
Like, at the end of the day, they are the ones who are like plotting and have all this like intrigue going on. If he just took his ass to work and came home, the kid would be safe. So like at the end of the day, they're kind of ambitious. And then I think, we haven't recapped every episode, but we've been watching this concurrent to Dune. And I think it's been funny seeing how the wives like getting involved or like trying to like push things from behind the scenes is like furthering all the stories and all the conflict and all the in both of these shows. Sims' wife and also the Emperor's wife in Dune, like they're doing shit in the background. I do like Sims' wife a little bit more though. I think she actually knows what the fuck she's doing. But not
Absolutely.
like none of them know what they're doing truly, but like, yeah.
Absolutely, Camille has a plan. I don't know what the Emperor's wife is. She's just salty. She's just mad. And that never ends out well.
She got left off Bad and Bougie and she can't accept it.
So then the Mechanical Four get to the porter's office. I don't know about Bad and Bougie.
You don't know about getting left off Bad and Bougie?
No.
There's no way you don't know what I'm referring to.
I have no idea.
Do you not remember? Do you know the song Bad and Bougie?
Yes, I know the song.
And you know how many members there used to be of Migos?
Yes.
Do you ever notice that Takeoff does not rap a verse on Bad and Bougie, one of Migos' biggest songs? Did you ever notice that?
I never noticed it. I can't tell the difference between the three.
So at the BET Awards several years ago. Okay, I'm not gonna touch that, but anyway, so at the BET Awards several years ago, DJ Academics, who fuck him, and Joe Budden, also fuck him, were interviewing Migos, and DJ Academics was like, "How does it feel getting left off Bad and Bougie?" And they were like, "What?" He was like, "How does it feel getting left off Bad and Bougie?" They were like, "Huh?" He was like, "How does it feel getting up?" They were like, "What?" Like it almost became a fight at the BET Awards simply because he was trying to ask them why did they leave Takeoff off of Bad and Bougie, and Takeoff felt very strongly that he didn't get left off Bad and Bougie. He simply didn't have a verse, and it was one of the stupidest and also most compelling moments in the late 2010s. So anyway, I think like, I'll never forget that to the day I die. So like, R.I.P. Take. I hope you didn't do the things you're accused of right before you.
This was at the BET Awards. I watch the BET Awards every year. I don't remember this.
This was at the pre-show, and it was a whole thing. It was when they had on like
I don't watch the pre-show.
But like it became viral. It's when they used to wear them button-up shirts with like the silk shirts. It was that era. It was Walking Like a Talkie era, and so like they were dressed they're dressed like Italian men, and they were acting like they wanted to fight. It was we'll come back to it later. I'll send it to you later. Don't you worry. Anyway, yeah, she's mad because she's been left off Bad and Bougie. And if you know that phrase, you once you start saying it, you have to say it over and over because it rolls off the tongue.
McClane asked for Calvin. Calvin come in, he's limping like he from Lord of the Rings. He's kind of hunched over. And I was like, this dude looked like he's not up to no good. You're not supposed to judge people by how they look, but I was judging this dude by how he looked. I was like, he ain't up to no good.
He definitely came in hobbiting. Like he definitely came in like he's been used before, and he's going to continue to hurt people because he's hurt.
Like he was the assistant to Dr. Frankenstein. That's what he reminded me of.
Yeah. That is the guy. Yeah, yep. Igor, good for you.
That's right. Then Calvin's like, they looking for y'all. Y'all ain't finna make it down. And I was like, oh, he know that they on the run. And McClane was like, look, I need a place to rest up and some transport home. You owe me. He was like, I owe you, but I don't owe you that much. It's gonna cost you. And McClane was like, look, Let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about what I got for you. Look, I got this bourbon. Man, it's from this place they call Kentucky back in the before times. You're going to have a good ass time.
Do you understand how aged that bourbon must be?
Yeah, it's probably delicious.
That bourbon got to be about 3,000 years old. That is crazy.
And he was like, I'm going to need some more. I'm going to need a little bit more than some old booze for this one. And she was like, what you want then? Damn. And he was like, I want some shit from Juliet Nichols. And I was like, oh shit. So they turned her into like a serial killer type shit. Like, oh, I want her sheets and shit. So
yeah, no, it's more like she's a folk hero. Like I do, she's definitely. Never feel like your emotions are getting. Oh my god, I literally just leaned on something. My bad. She's definitely like Joan of Arc to them.
Okay, yeah, that's a good analogy. But should they want something from like her job? Like I want Willie Mays' bat. I don't want Willie Mays' like remote control.
Yeah.
Or his favorite coffee mug. Like I don't want that.
But some people will be like, I fished this at Michael Jackson. People be like, no, people would be like, this was a tissue that Michael Jackson used. It's going for $50,000 on eBay. So you really can't underestimate the people. But also like in a culture where like any random thing is a relic, I feel like that is more valid because like it's like, oh, who knows what this thingamajob is, and it's like a Pez dispenser,
Yeah.
And they're like, did they do math with it? Like, what was that? And it's like, what? Yeah.
They do a quick cut to the janitor's closet, and we see the new Sims, Mr. Almondson, and he's briefing Bernard on the Mechanical Four. And Bernard, he was like, I'm gonna have my Raiders take care of this. Bernard was like,
who? Have been working for him.
Who? Bernard was like, who's Raiders? Who? He was like, at no point are they your Raiders. Like, let's get this straight, dog. They work for me. I haven't even named you the head right now. I just need somebody to handle this shit. So get them straight. And he's like, I'm gonna catch him. And he was like, I hope you do, buddy. And so then they cut back to the Porters. Walker gives him a multi-tool. He says it was Jules. Calvin's like, how do I know this is Jules? And she was like, because I saw her fix that shit. That's how. That's my daughter. You doubted me? He was like, all right, then I'll take it. And so
yeah, she's literally like, this is Jules's pen. Like she's just like, here you go. He's like, yes, that's what I wanted.
He said, look, I got these grain barrels that we got to transport up and down. Y'all can get in there and we'll roll y'all down. And they was like, we old as fuck. That shit gonna hurt. The fuck wrong with you? And he was like, what you want me to do? How is it supposed to get you down?
Take it or leave it.
And she was like, what about the descender rig? They got a winch-in cable system. And he's like, that's just illegal. And he was like, yeah, but we got it through legal ways. But
by the way, though, that's illegal. Like diffusers are in your house. What's he talking about?
We learned this last season. They are not allowed to have any pulley systems in the silo. Anything that can transport you great distances quickly. That's why they don't have elevators or anything like that. So that's essentially what that is. It's as the sort of a pulley system. So it's illegal. It's banned.
And you have to think about that. Like, why would it be illegal for me to talk to a rich person?
That's right. It's to keep your classes like, where they are.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, it's not clicking for anyone. That was another part of my favorite part of the moment. The later on when somebody else talks about their job and they realize, like, damn, is everybody saying the same thing in the silo, like, so that they all feel tribal about their jobs? I think that was like very telling.
Whoever designed the silo thought this through immensely. Like they really thought it through. Like what the world they were trying to create in the silo. And so then right as that happens, McLean was like, but we got a 6'4" white dude that's jacked. He can't fit in that shit. And they was like, I don't know what you want me to do. And then Knox busted in talking about the Raiders are coming. And McLean was like, you sold me out. And Calvin was like, I did. And your little dog too.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, oh, well.
So they run out. Then they cut to Billings and Hank. Billings is in deep thought. He's just thinking. Hank's like, he tells Hank, I just got a message from the new head of Judicial Security, Almondson. And Hank's like, the fuck happened to Sims? He was like, that's a great question. I'll tell you. He the judge now. He was like, he the judge? The fuck happened to Meadows? And he was like, another excellent question. She dead. And guess who killed her? He was like, who? Yo friends. They, Walker, Knox, Shirley, they killed him. And they on the run. And Hank was like, what the fuck? So then they cut to the Mechanical Four. They decide to split up. McClane tells Shirley and Knox go on their way. McClane and Walker, they go on their way. They go to sit down. McClane was like, you ain't staying here. I ain't do all this for you to get caught with me. She was like, what? Like, no, I ain't leaving. And McClane was like, dog, you say your ass in your house for 25 years. Don't nobody know who the fuck you are. You can walk around, ain't nobody gonna stop you.
That too. You were like, she really is like outside.
Yeah, she was like, you can go, ain't nobody gonna stop you. And then she was like, all right. And then Walker came back and gave her a kiss because that's her ex-wife. And she still loved her. And then she walked
away. Is that
away.
really?
Yeah, it's her ex-wife.
When I tell you I thought that was a revelation, I don't go back and watch everything because I just don't have the capacity. But like, I like things coming back to me as a memory. I do like that.
So McClane is setting up for the Raiders to come get her to give everybody else some time. That's what it looked like to me. So then they cut to Dr. Nichols. Nichols is helping out people who's hurt in the riot. Billings' wife is there, and she holding the baby while administering aid and putting somebody's shoulder back into place. So I was like, oh, she a beast.
Yeah, no, that was slick. Yeah, no, that was fire because he was like, oh, my shoulder's dislocated. She's like, okay, well, like the doctor's right over there. Why don't you look right? And then cracks it back. And he's like, he literally goes, ouch. I'm so happy for that actor who got paid to be like, oh no, that hurt. And then he just walks off and she fixes it. And like you said, Nichols is like, oh, okay, like I got a little apprentice. And she's dope. Like we haven't seen her outside of, I don't think we've seen her outside of their house really. And like talking to him about the shakes.
Dr. D said, hey y'all, very much enjoy your streams. Glad to have caught you live tonight. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I know a lot of y'all be watching. Come check us out live and talk to us. We appreciate that so much, Dr. D.
Yeah, we really do.
By the way, that actor, he was trash because let me tell you, if someone played football in college, I have separated my shoulder. That shit hurts much worse when it gets put back than ow. No. That shit's a scream. That shit hurts when that shit get put back into place. So I don't like that. Some Raiders roll up on him. Oh, first of all, the baby, Billings is talking to him, introduced himself. He's like, I'm just here to help people. He asks Dr. Nichols, like, what the hell's going down in Mechanical? Then some Raiders showed up, but I was distracted because Billings is a dark-skinned brother, and that baby was white as fuck. Did you see the baby?
Yes, that baby looked like his mama, if that's what you're asking.
Exactly like his mama. Exactly like his mama. So I was like, they could have done a little bit better. Well, even black babies are really light when they real young. So maybe
they're
it's
not
just
that.
young.
I'm gonna tell you this right now, they're not that light. But no, you know what's funny? Black babies are light like that when they're like light-skinned babies can be light like that, but white babies are white. So I don't know how else to explain it to you, but like that was a white child. Whose white baby is this, as Cat Williams says?
So Camille, who's Robert Sims' wife, that's her name, she asks what Bernard's plan is. This is back in the Sims residence. Sims was like, look, he's trying to have the silo take down Mechanical. It's basically going to be a reset for him. It's going to be like Jules never happened. He's going to keep power, consolidate power, and get everything back in charge. And Camille was like, Almerson is good, but he ain't you, honey. He ain't got what you got. And she was like, why don't you go?
And this is where she was getting on my nerves. Because, by the way, you kicked all this shit into motion. Like, he was thinking and ruminating on his options, but you were the one who like, yeah, do that. That's going to work. And you got him fired. And now she's like, man, I can't get fired. Somebody else would do your job. Like, maybe stop piping up. Maybe just let him kind of simmer in this new thing.
She kisses him and tells him, look, go make the most of your new job, honey. You the judge now. And I was like, she up to something. She is up to something. That's why I wrote my notes. So then we get to Bernard's office. Dr. Nichols shows up, Sir Jorah Mormont, and Bernard offers him some of Jules' shit. He was like, look, I'm going to give it to you because If this went back in circulation, it's going to be highly coveted. It's going to be traded. It's going to cost a cent. He said it's going to be venerated and coveted, and he doesn't want his daughter's memory distorted. And he thanks Dr. Nichols for his spirit of service in the service of the silo. And then Dr. Nichols read Bernard for filth, and I have that scene
For filth.
right
Up
here.
and down, honey. Let's do it.
And faith in the pact.
What if I say no?
Why would you say no?
I just want to be clear.
This is a wild ass accent too, by the way.
If I don't help you, what happens? There is nothing left for me to lose, is there? The silo has taken my son, my wife, and now my daughter. I wasn't tending to the wounded out of a sense of duty to the silo. I was trying to reclaim some sense of professional integrity. I was trying to practice medicine without lies, without harm. All those birth control removals marked code orange. I see those young couples, their faces alight with hope. Hope that I know is unfounded. My profession is a sham. Salo took that from me too. For whatever reason, my daughter is dead. You can't control what she means to people. You can't control what she means to me.
They finished zooming in on Bernard's face, and he just looked like, I can't believe he just said that shit to me. I was like, yeah, he don't give a fuck. He don't got nothing else to live for.
Correct.
So,
He's because like literally in his reality, his daughter, like the silo has taken both of the people he loved, and like he tried to save his daughter by being like a good and faithful servant, and it still didn't work out. So he really is just like, fuck you. Like, what reason do I have? Like, if y'all are gonna kill me, you might as well. And in the meantime, I'm gonna stop like doing things to make myself feel guilty. I think it's interesting though because about it's interesting because I think we see a lot of shows where people are like doing the wrong thing, but being like, as in him telling people that they can get pregnant, they can't, but like they think they're doing it for the right reasons. So it's interesting to see somebody midway realizing like this shit wasn't worth it. I've been like giving in, and I don't want to. So I do like that for his character.
then we cut to Judge Sims. He getting briefed by Sharon about his new job. He's like, what the fuck? I've been here for 15 years. The fuck you telling me this basic ass shit for? Like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Go on now.
Salty. She's just trying to help him, and he's being he's honestly being rude. And I know he's mad, but I felt like, why is he being so mean to everyone? Like, this is how the silo is. You don't get to bully everybody all their life saying that it's for like, thin blue line, and then turn around and be like, oh my God, I had to sacrifice for the silo. This makes me so upset. I don't deserve this. Like, niggas, you've pushed people off the edge and made people go clean before. Like, you need to just take your lumps and bumps like the rest of us, buddy.
He looked like he was ready to explode. He got behind his desk and started throwing shit on his desk, throwing a tantrum. Yeah. So then they cut to the janitor closet again, and it's the Raiders. They find McLean. Bernard asks about the others from Almason. They're watching on the security room inside the closet, and he's like, "Yeah, we got an eye on the others. We set up a barricade. We're gonna get them." He was like, all right, then. I trust you. So then we see Bernard and Lucas Kyle. And this was my favorite scene. One of my favorite scenes in the show. And Lucas looked like he'd been working on a railroad all day. And he'd been there one goddamn day in the mines. And he just looked completely like totes. And he told Lucas, life expectancy in the mines is 5 years. So that sentence Judge Meadows cut for you was just symbolic. And he was like, you know why it's only 5 years? And Lucas was like, tell me why, nigga. Tell me why. And Bernard started naming all the reasons why. It could be a bad explosion, a rock fall on you, you get shocked, like just wear and tear, lack of oxygen. And I'm like, God damn, this is like, what the hell's going on down there? And he said, but I'm going to offer you some soft duty. He said, Judge Meadows told me you figured out the science of astrology. And you weren't that far off there, buddy. Copernicus. And he asked Lucas to reconstruct
That's a good one.
the hard
Sorry,
drive.
that made me laugh.
And that Jules said, he's like, do you know what this is? You can answer it, buddy. You can answer it. I ain't gonna add no more to your sentence. What is this? Oh, that's the hard drive, Jules said, sir. Yes, you're goddamn right, that's the hard drive. I destroyed that shit. It was a red level relic. But I no longer have the luxury of ignorance. I need to know what the fuck's on there. So I'm gonna give you a chance to work in this nice air-conditioned office to figure that shit out. And trust me, I know it's motherfuckers over there that's better than you. Don't get your head blown up. You ain't the best, but you the most desperate. And there's some sensitive shit on here, and I can have to trust you to do it because I'm gonna throw your ass back in the mines if you say some shit. So get to work.
He can also like leverage the fact that he's now been scared straight. So like he actually is like more likely to be controlled if he finds out some crazy shit than somebody who like like the radicalization of like believing in the silo and then not believing in it, it's like a lot. But if you already are like, man, fuck the silo, then you're like, fuck the silo, but also the silo almost killed me because I realized its secrets. You actually are more likely to be controlled because it's like, okay, I don't want, like you said, the mind scared that nigga straight. So he's like, all right, at the end of the day, I just want to lay low. I just want to go back home. So like whatever I need to do, you got it. So this is actually very smart. But again, like it's damn near like torture at this point. It's like cruel and unusual punishment, basically.
You know what I think? You want to know my hot takes,
Mm-hmm.
I think
always
Lucas Kyle is about to be Bernard's new shadow.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That's what I think. I think he's about to be his new shadow.
That makes sense. I mean, again, it's like what we're finding out is like even Bernard doesn't know everything. And so it's like you got to have somebody who's scared enough to not go out and shout it like Shirley, but then you got to have somebody who is like
smart enough to figure out that the earth revolves around the sun.
Yeah, and then also somebody who's like a man who is not self-aware enough to become an alcoholic and a recluse and not talk to anyone for 25 years. Like you need somebody right in the middle. Cause like, the Judge Meadows is like, yeah, I understand all this and it scares the shit out of me and I'm actually scared, versus like a man would be like, no, I'm good. Like, let's do this. Like we can solve this. So I think that's what he needs a guy who's like going to be like, yeah, okay. Like I'm scared, but I'm also not aware enough to like save myself.
Sims goes back to his old office, but they changed the locks on him. And he's like, why the fuck the button not working? And almost is like, Judge, we had to make a change. And Sims like, bitch, call me Robert like you did the last 10 years. Fuck you mean Judge? And he said, I want to check and see how the search is going because, I'm the judge now of the people who killed my predecessor. And almost is like, we got this under control. And then he was like, we got an eye on them. We're using the plan that you set in place, sir. And I was like, okay, he's still scaring them a little bit. So
yeah, it's also interesting though for him to be like, did y'all get the people who killed my predecessor knowing good and damn well it was you? Like he's always playing games.
So then the Mechanical Four, Knox and Shirley get caught by the mob. But the mob's like, let me see some ID. And they're like, me and my husband, we just taking a stroll. We just need some exercise. Show me your ID. And they're like, is this a free country? Is this a free silo? Do I gotta show my ID every step I take?
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then they start fighting, and they're about to throw them over the rail. And then out of nowhere, this really surprised me, comes Camille in her Raider outfit. And she shut that shit down. And she was like, listen.
But also this is definitely Common's wife, because she goes, hey, immediate speech. I know some of you recognize me. Like, girl, what? Like, you just came out of nowhere and now you got a speech to give? Like, they love them damn step speeches.
Do you know my husband? He the judge now. And he want these people for justice because justice for Judge Meadows is justice for the entire silo, and we're all going to rejoice when we send their asses out to clean. And then she whispers to Knox, they're going to string your ass up if you don't come with me, so shut the fuck up. And so he shuts the fuck
But
up.
what's crazy is it was her. She gonna say, my husband wants justice. He's the one who sent the mob on him. What are we talking about? It's just like, it's a level of misinformation and miscommunication that happens. There's so many people not like able to communicate and keep records that I'm just like, it's driving me crazy because I'm just watching one person lie, then the next person come and tell a different lie, and then the people are just so easily distracted. And again, like I do definitely, like I talk almost every episode about how this show scares me because it reminds me so much of what has to be happening, like to so-called free societies as we speak, like manipulation and propaganda and all that. And literally, speaking of, like, in the beginning I only brought up a couple of shows, but like a random side note that is relevant, I think, is I realized the government really can distract you. Because do you know what they announced the other day? And I almost was like, okay, I might stay in America for a couple more years.
What?
A Malcolm in the Middle reboot. They're doing an adult Malcolm in the Middle reboot, and I was like, okay, the government has me under control once again.
She takes. I'm not even gonna respond to that. She takes into a janitor closet, and somebody else living in this goddamn janitor closet. And she's like, I'm gonna give y'all one chance to get away. I suggest you leave tonight, though. And
no, she didn't even do that. No. She knocks on the door and the guy goes, oh, fuck, it's you. And she's like, yeah, nigga, it's me again. Get up and go to work. And he's like, wait, this is what he goes, right? Does she take him to the house or the janitor closet first?
The janitor closet. And she's like, you're gonna go stay with your ex-wife on level 83. And if you hear about a bounty, you ain't heard about the bounty.
She kicks him out.
And while he was setting them up in the house,
you can tell she's really ruined his life because he literally is like, I don't even have pants on. And she's like, put your fucking pants on and go. And he leaves his own house. What did she do to him?
Well, he talks to them first. And he's like, don't eat all my shit in the fridge and shit. And she was like, she really gonna let you leave with no key? And he was like, I suggest y'all get the fuck out of here. That woman's dangerous. I'm not fucking with her. I'm out of here, buddy. And so I thought this was interesting because I initially thought that she was doing this so that Almason could be seen as like incompetent, that he can't catch these people, to force Bernard to come back to Sims. But we know that Bernard knows it was her because she announced, I'm fucking Sims's wife in front of all these people. And I went back, when I watched it the second time, I was like, if she was going to do this, she wouldn't be like, I'm Judge Sims's wife, I'm taking these people, right? She would have just done it secretively and had it be fucked up. So I don't know if she's I don't know what she's up to now. I have no idea what her end game is at this point, because which we'll get to in a little bit with her interaction with Rob later, that really fucked with me. But back in the janitor's closet, they try to get a little bit of rest, and Knox is like, which Chanel said earlier, I wonder if everybody uses the same line, because I use this shit in mechanical. And Taylor was like, yeah, everybody thinks that they're the person that keeps the silo running. And then
yeah, he's like, I gotta go to work or else everything's gonna fall apart. And so they definitely are training people up to be like, hey, if plumbing doesn't go to work, nobody's gonna be able to take a shit. And if mechanical doesn't go to work, everyone's taking a shit in the dark. And if fucking horticulture doesn't go to work, we can't grow toilet paper. Like, and to be fair, they all do truly need to function for society. Yeah. Like,
in that scenario,
they all cannot go on vacation. Yeah. It truly is true, but it's funny because they don't tell them, it's not unifying. It's not, hey, all of you need to work. Like, we all work together. It's like your group is the only important group. And the other groups, they're crazy. And it just creates more division.
And he says, I'm sorry, I almost got you killed. And Shirley was like, bruh, if we'd have listened to me, we'd have been dead. All right, so at least we got a chance now. So then they cut to Billings and Hank. Hank says he has a conflict. How I'm going to be sheriff? I'm gonna be a deputy on the sheriff team, and my friends out here being hunted as killers. And Billy was like, how about the fact that I got a condition explicitly outlawed by the pack, and I'm the sheriff? And Hank was like, oh shit, do they know? He was like, Billings was like, Simmons made an allowance when he was head of judicial, but as judge, I don't know what the fuck he finna do. And then Hank was like, all right, let's think about something different. I got a line on Patrick Kennedy. And so Billings, they get to the calf, and Billings asks Hank, do you think they killed Meadows? And Hank says, listen, Shirley, she don't got no respect for authority. Knox has been wilding recently, even though he's tried to help us. They both are real mad aggressive, but do I think they killed Judge Meadows? Hell no, they didn't kill Judge Meadows. And so then they see Patrick Kennedy's niece, who's black. So, you know, his wife was black. Look at Patrick Kennedy. Look at your boy, you know?
It did take me a minute because I was like, is this uncle like in like a neighborhood kind of uncle? Like it made me real. Yeah. So they see this girl. And honestly, this is how Hank, like, sorry, but community policing works, because Hank is like, hey, didn't you work at 6 a.m. and it's 12 a.m. now? So that means you had an 18-hour shift, and I know you don't eat oranges, and you got cuties in that bag, and ain't you bringing that to your uncle? Like, he literally peeps it from across the room, and that comes from like knowing the people in the neighborhood. And she's like, oh fuck, just come on. Like it shows him where Patrick is. And like it goes back to how, again, like he just said all these things about his friends, but he knows they wouldn't do that because they do actually know each other. The only people who think that would happen are people who live all the way up top, who like think they're savages running the, I don't know, like, you know, like Quasimodo's downstairs, basically. Like they just can't fathom that they're the same as them and have the same morals and like values.
So then we cut to Rob and Camille. And Rob coming to bed, and Camille already in bed. She roll over and cuddle up with him, and she was
By the way, we got this is what I need from Common. I need more shirt off. This is making sense now.
He said, I went to the janitor room. They wouldn't let me in. Yeah, I left that alone. I went to the janitor room. They ain't let me in. And Camille was like, oh, Camille said, how was your first day, Judge Sims? And she was like, I went to the janitor room. They wouldn't let me in. They up to some shit, but they ain't catch him or something like that. And Camille was like, yeah, and if you was in charge, they'd have been caught hours ago. And then kind of started rubbing his tummy. And she ain't say shit about what she did. And I was like, what the fuck is she up to? Like, if she not telling him, what is she up to? Because she knows that Bernard thinks they tell each other everything. So Bernard gonna think Sims is the one behind this shit, when he really ain't had shit to do with it at this time. So then they had the barricade, because they had set up a barricade earlier at like one of the levels, and they're not letting the sheriff department down. And the black Karen from season 1 that was all up in Jules's business, she complaining again. I work for the sheriff office. You can't stop me from going down. I'm gonna call your manager. I know your boss. I'm gonna call him. And the Raiders is like, call him then. Go ahead, be my guest. And so then they cut to Bernard's office. Almason's telling Bernard Camille stashed the mechanical 2 now away. And she was like, who? Well, he was like, who did that shit? He was like, Camille Sims. And he was like, God damn it. Like, what the fuck? And so then he go back in the room, and Luke was like, let me tell you what I found, boss. There's a map. It's kind of broken up. I'm still working on it, but it's a map. But it don't look like our map. And they got these 2 lines that come out of judicial and IT, which we learned in Silo 17 what that is. And he says at the bottom it's a tunnel. And Bernard was like, huh, where the fuck that shit go? I don't know. But there was also a folder. Most of the files was bullshit. You ain't worried about that. But there was one file. It was a scan. And it was a handwritten letter. And he like, guess who that shit was from? Bernard was like, who that shit was from? Salvador Quinn. And he was like, Bernard was like, what'd it say? And he was like, it was a love letter.
It's just too perfect though. It's like, oh, that shit was blown to smithereens, but the 2 things you got back for the map and the letter, like, okay.
You know, that's a good point. And he's like, it was a love letter. And then it goes into, he was like, it goes in the code. And he was like, yeah, it goes in the code. And so then we see Hank and Billings. They find Kennedy. He fucked up, bleeding. Billings is like, let me help you, buddy. And he's like, fuck away from me. I don't trust you. I was on YouTube. I know things now. It's all a lie. They lie. Yeah. The earth is flat. They lying to us.
No, the funniest part is he's being like, shoot me like the police do. Go ahead. Like, murder by cop. I know that's what we're going to do. Just get it over with. Like, I've never seen somebody face the police.
But the funny thing is,
shoot me. Let's just get this over with.
The funny thing is, in this show, The cops have never been shit. The Raiders, who work for Judicial, who've been terrible, but like the first black cop, I forget his name.
Martin Luther King and Selma.
Yes. He wasn't shitty to people. Juliet, I mean, she didn't really do shit, but she wasn't shitty to people.
They were in peace times, though, by the way. Like, he was Viserys. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't nothing going on.
And Billings he's not like abusing power. We haven't seen like cops abuse power. We've seen the Raiders do that shit, but so the cops in this world haven't really been like that. And so
that's
Billings,
what I'm saying. That's why it's so funny, because he's just like, come on, just do what you pigs do. And he's like, I literally came here to check on you. Are you okay? And he's like, no, just shoot me in the fucking head. And he's like, I literally want to see if you're good. Like, how are you feeling?
Patrick's like, don't you see it's all a lie? The pack is just there to keep us in line. And he said something about Sims, and Billings was like, you know Sims? He's like, you goddamn right I know Sims. I helped Juliet out, go outside. He gagged and bagged me. And he was like, and I learned a bunch of shit. And Billings was like, so tell me the truth. And he was like, give me your fucking gun. What you mean? Give me your gun and I'll tell you the truth. Oh, you ain't gonna give me your gun. You don't trust me. And Billings was like, how about this? Do
you not love this guy?
Yeah, Kennedy is great.
Yeah.
And Billings takes out the piece of paper he ripped out of the fucking book that he was crying last year. He's like, I don't even know why I saved this shit. But look. And he was like, I took this out of a book in Juliet's room. And Patrick was like, God damn, you one of us. I'll tell you everything you want to know. Get me a goddamn doctor.
You need to know, yeah. He said, sew me up, buddy. Let's get this go. Let's go to chapter 3.
Actually, he said, I'll tell you what you want to know. In fact, I'll tell you everything you sure as fuck don't want to know. And so,
okay, so my favorite part of this scene was like, okay, first of all, he definitely was like ready to die, which is not funny, but it's just like hilarious because he's been like, just kill me. The second part that I loved is that he's, like you said, as soon as he was like, wait, you're gang? He was like, oh my God, thank you so much, because I actually didn't want to die here at all. Like, please go get a doctor. Like, I am hurting. Please. Like, he was acting like a tough guy. He was saying, shoot me in the head before that. But as soon as he realized it, he was like, get me a doctor. Oh my God, I'm so cold. It was
that's
like
exactly what happened.
that was why I love this episode. Like, that scene had me crying. I was laughing my ass off.
Then they go back to the porter's office. Knox ran up on Calvin, tied his ass up, took the winch. They also took the multi-tool bags. Like, oh yeah, that shit wasn't Jules anyway, bruh. They go outside. They hide. They take some like porter costumes.
Petty, but okay.
So they could get past the Raiders. Dumbass Raiders just look at them like, oh, look,
that was smart, and that was smart. That was smart. So then they start doing the little rickshaw all the way down to they're like, all right, we're going to get as far down to the down deep as we can. Very smart. I like this part.
They jump over the edge, but Almerson comes. He shoots that motherfucking shit.
So they jump over the edge with, okay, wait, they have rope that they found from the area. They've like tied it to the left. This is for anybody who didn't actually watch the episode. They tie it to the end of the banister, and then they literally don't know how. They go, how long is the rope? And he's like, I don't know. And that was another thing that got me. They had bound and gagged the dude who double crossed them. He was under their control, and he's still talking shit. I'm like, why? What is up with everybody today? Like, he was talking mad stuff. So anyway, they didn't know how far the rope went. So they literally held hands and were like, if we die, at least we die going splat on the down deep. Like, they're like, if we're not going to make it, like, we're going to not make it getting back home, and not like, and basically like, I'm not going to die in a foreign land. That's literally what this is. It's like they jump off and swan dive together, and they do end up making it to an area of the down deep. Like, that's deep enough for their friends to help them. And fucking Amundsen, like you said, that motherfucker has the best aim since John Wayne. He shoots a rope and splits it right down the middle. The rope goes flying free. So like, they're now free falling. They get saved just in time. And then the mechanism that they hooked on the side to anchor them, he throws that over the side. He's literally like, I'm killing you motherfuckers any chance I can get. He acmes them and drops an anvil. He drops an anvil from up above, and they get him out of the way. Yeah, he was like, fuck. And I was like, okay, she might not have been wrong. Sims might be the best person in this job, because I don't see Sims going, yeah.
He calls Bernard, telling him they got away, and Bernard's like, no shit, they fucking got away. Fuck you. Bernard gets off the phone.
He's watching it on CCTV.
He calls Billings. He was like, hey, dog, they might be your problem now. Can I trust you to serve the silo? Billings is like, yes, sir, Captain. I will serve the silo. Hangs up, and he right there hanging with Patrick Kennedy. I was like, my
Yeah, he's
dog.
like, I'm not going nowhere. Yeah, he's like, I'm literally about to gossip about all of y'all, so I'll be there later.
And that was Silo 18. So a
Yeah,
lot did happen over there. So then we cut to Silo 17. Jules in here fixing the suit.
Literally, and this is why I liked it, because we didn't see no swimming. We didn't see no like last minute just in case saving. It was like, I think I liked it because it felt more realistic. Like Juliet, basically this whole thing is her looking for the helmet, which I like. I like having a simple plot.
She's an impossible white woman, so you got to expect that from her.
Yes.
So then Jules is trying to fix the helmet and doesn't want to go back to the water, so she is trying to fix the old helmet because she's like, I'm not going back in that shit. And Jules asks Solo, why the fuck is it power if y'all flooded the generator? And Solo was like, oh,
I mean, these are great questions. I keep asking. I was also like, everything's on. What's going on? Is it solar powered? What the fuck's going on?
Well, they're on the IT level, and Solo was like, IT got their own power. They come from outside. She's like, where? He's like, I don't know, just outside. And she was like, so why was it flooded anyway? And he said, oh, some dumbass judicial raiders thought blowing up the groundwater pump to flood out mechanical was a good idea, but they couldn't fix it before the water took out the generator. And I was like, oh, so they was trying to blame mechanical for the shit in the silo.
Bro, genociding mechanical is crazy. Flooding the bottom floors of civilization, and you think that's all civilization? And anyway, there's a lot going on in these silos. Like, I'm just imagining like 1 through 16 has a bunch of other bullshit happening too. Like,
no, one of them is probably one of them is probably like Star Trek. It's like a utopia.
One of them is Fallout for sure. They've been mutated. One of them is Walking Dead. Oh my god, I actually want to see that. That's what I want. Silo season 3 and 4 got renewed. Fuck the books. I want to see one silo be like themed like Lost. One silo is Smallville. One side, like I want one silo to be all MCU.
This is why Chanel is a great sketch comic, but not a drama writer. She's not a drama writer.
I can write drama just fine.
Okay. Smallville in the silo.
My premises are great though. But see, the thing is, they would be like the Acme silo, but it would be like driven by a good story.
Okay, I believe you. So then Solo asks, "Is there a way to stop the water from rising?" And she was like, "Well, you can run power down to the pump is on 130. It'll stop it from rising." So I was like, "Can you do that shit?" And Jules was like, "What you mean, me?" And he was like, "That shit is rising. I got 10 months or I'm finna die. What the fuck you mean?" And so, and Jules was like, "I got days." And Solo was like, "You don't know that?" And she's like, "I'm not finna risk that shit. Like, I'm gonna go look for this helmet." And then Solo comes and looks with her. And so then we see Solo.
Yeah,
and
he's actually like big tripping. He couldn't be outside. Oh no, I'm messing up. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
He couldn't be outside the vault for 5 minutes, but he wants her to delay. Like, he just told her their silo is going to rush outside and kill everyone if she doesn't return. And he's like, but I literally don't want to drown. Like, it's not Solo is very annoying to me, is all I'm trying to say.
Jules asked Solo what his real name is. He says Cole Myers. He's like, "Oh, they call me Solo because my name is Cole Myers, but they call me Solo because I went somewhere and I said I'm here solo, and Russell's son thought it was cool. He just started calling me Solo." And then he says, "But what's in the name?" And Juliet don't get it. And he was like, "It's from the play that you're fucking named after, where they die, right before they die." And Jules was like, "What you mean? What play?" He's like, "Romeo and Juliet." He's like, "Yeah, but they don't die."
She doesn't say. Yeah, she's like, "In my Romeo and Juliet, they live happy ever after." Which
I was like, "What the fuck they teaching
mind.
you?"
Because then it's like, is each silo getting different versions of the shit? Like, how are they? Is it A/B testing? Like, they're trying to see. Actually, I do theory unlocked. What if the way that they're setting up different silos is like, what if they don't want all 50 whoever set up the silos or the people running the silos, I still believe that all the mayors are or like all somebody's talking. I really do believe that. I don't think we've seen it all yet. But anyway, what if the silos are set up and they're all experimenting on different things of society?
Well, that was what Fallout was. That was the premise of Fallout.
Yes, but I mean, like in this instance, like one silo literally is learning the metric system, one is learning the imperial system, and then they're trying to see like who does better in math. I don't know what the end is. Like maybe it's like one of them actually gets. Like I think outside is still not inhabitable, but I'm just wondering if like there has to be. There's what I'm trying to say is that anything we see we're like, oh, slight difference. There's a fucking reason for that. It's not because they accidentally started like learning it wrong. It's like they probably put different textbooks in, kind of thing. So I'm like, I'm interested to see what like who is the they, and then also like what was the intention. But I do think there's intention behind the fact that like
you know
any
what's
little
funny
thing they
about
say
all
is
the
different.
silos? They clearly taught these motherfuckers math and science, like legitimate math and science. So they know good math and science. It's just the other shit, it's the liberal arts that is all convoluted and fucked
Yeah,
up.
it's the criminal justice. It's the sociology that they're like, no, you can't you can't have rights.
So then Jules, Jules is like, she starts to feel weak and shit. So I was like, I'm finna go get you some food. So Jules leaves and goes to a storage closet. She's looking for extra helmets. She's clearly fucked up.
By the way, what's happening with her? Do you think it's like?
It's
so
her
I started
arm.
to think. I know she has it. I know she. So we see her injury later, but I'm like, what if she got a little bit of radioactive, like poison? Like, what if like something's going on with her from being
or
outside?
she's just got an infection. Maybe she might have an infection or some
Yeah,
sort.
I mean, the infection makes sense. I also was like, Solo could have poisoned her with a little bit of food he did give her. Like, it could be anything. And I think like it was obvious, like when she looked at her arm and it was like, oh, you're dying. Like you're probably rotting from the inside. You have consumption. But like, when it was happening, I was like, is she just like? I didn't know what was if some. I guess I was just thinking like, what if that suit really? What if the wool really wasn't enough? Like the tape wasn't enough. But I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm just spitballing here because like I said before, I was like I don't think it's true anymore, but I think that like there's something to be said about Solo. If Solo had lived those long lifetimes, I'm like, who's to say what they're doing there? Because we already know, like, once they enter into a realm of their shit in the water and they can change memory, we're on to some other, like, it's not quite magic and witches and like and superheroes, but we are in a realm of like, okay, science can do stupid shit. So like, how do I know it's not like literally him putting something in her stuff or like him in there doing some type of crazy shit so he can live a longer life? Like, I don't know. So I'm just throwing it out there so that I'm right when it comes back. Also, I wanted to tell you, I didn't look ahead, but I did decide to go start reading the book. I started reading the books. That's all. I started from the beginning.
Well, no, I'm reading the book too after this season. This season is ending the first book. So that's what I was told.
Okay.
The first
so then I'll be good.
The first two seasons of the first book. So then she finds an old memorandum about a missing helmet. And
which is, again, I'm sorry, Silo has always been so good. This is the only episode where I'd be like, this shit fits in too quick. She just happens to find the missing helmet. Like, it was a little bit annoying to me that I was like, she's looking for a helmet, she finds it, oh, it's in this place. But that's the only time in all these shows I've been like, Silo is like fitting in too easily to what we need.
She goes into a random apartment where the helmet's supposed to be at, and she sees a picture of a woman named Tiny, and it's with a dude named Solo, who clearly ain't Solo. It ain't our Solo. And they go back. She brings the helmet. She goes back because she ain't find the helmet. And Solo's back bringing her some dinner. And then I got this scene because this was some scary shit.
I've got dinner. What you doing?
I was trying to track down a helmet that was stolen from the suit room. So I went to an employee's apartment, trying to find it. Trina Samuels.
Trina Samuels?
Yeah. She was Solo's girlfriend.
Wait, pause it. The way he repeats it is like when you catch your man cheating and he goes, Brittany. It's like, he know exactly who the fuck Brittany is. Don't act like you don't know.
I took it differently than you. I thought it was him reminiscing. Like, oh man, Trina Samuels. God damn.
I mean, y'all.
like that.
But either way, that's not how you want your man to respond when you go, "Who the fuck is this bitch?"
I haven't thought about her in a long time. Actually, I don't like thinking about her. Do you want chicken or beef?
Why are you lying to me?
I don't know what you're saying.
Solo.
She picks up the picture.
Trina? That's her. That's not you. Is it? No.
I hate Rebecca Ferguson's accent too on here, by the way.
Because this, look at this. I found this. Cole Myers, the IT shadow. That's the actual.
I am the IT shadow! You don't know what you're talking about! Don't say those words to me! Don't you ever! I am Solo! I am the IT shadow! Do you hear me? I am Solo! I am the IT shadow!
You're Solo. You're Solo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You look terrible. You should really have something to eat.
How he just switched it up to like so calm and just like, you should have something to eat. That shit was crazy. That was some good ass acting right there.
Okay, two things. Oh, you're not done. Keep going.
No, go ahead.
No, you finish the scene. It's about the scene. Go ahead.
Hungry. Oh. I don't feel well. I need to just, I'm gonna lie down. I'm just gonna.
When I saw that, this is what I thought about.
Bring it down, cause my head will start spinning. I'll chop on your trachea.
Try it. Try it. Try it. With me if you want to. It's not a good day. Okay? Now back to the
shaking the table.
That's what that was.
You used it wrong. So K. Michelle was not scared. That's the thing.
I know. K. Michelle, I know. What I'm saying is, that's how Solo was acting. Like he was getting angry. He was getting riled up. I'm saying Solo was the other person.
So you just like that Solo was shaking the table. You want to call it out. Okay, I hear you. I think for anyone who doesn't know, that is like very classic Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. By the way, justice for K. Michelle and fuck Rashida and Kirk if you are at all involved in that. So what I want to say is that two things. One is imagine Steve Zahn and Common switching places. And I actually think Common could have did that scene, but I don't think Common could have did the whole weird Solo in a vault thing. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not giving him his credit, but you know what black man could do both. And this is like really me like acting like there's only a talented temp, but Jeffrey Wright could have did Solo as well.
Yeah, but Jeffrey Wright's not scary to me.
If we're just in this neighborhood of people. Okay, Jeffrey Wright needs to prove that to you. Jeffrey, we know you're listening. Can you do a scary role next, please? Thank you. Okay, so then the other thing I wanted to say is and Rebecca did like great acting here because she really was like, the way that she was giving him his space, but like not fully turning away and not fully reacting is like a truly like the correct response to somebody like that. He just crashed out, like up and down. There's no way around it. He crashed out. And so then the way she goes, I don't feel good. And then like does that fast shuffle off. I'm like, that is exactly what you would do when you're like, oh, I'm stuck in this silo with this psychopath. Like, I actually don't know who this is. By the way, who are the dead bodies in the hallway? They're fresh. Like, you're just thinking like, you're like, who the fuck is this now? And then the reason why I thought about like switching Steve Zahn out with Common is because like Common wanted to be the shadow of IT. Like that is Common's fate when the silo rushes out. It's Common who's gonna be like, I'm gonna hide in the vault now and like protect the vault, and no one asked me to do it. So my question for you is like, who do you think Solo actually is based on?
That's what I was about to ask you. What do you think is going on with Solo? Because what I think is he was someone who was mistreated by these people, and when everybody ran out, he ran in there. Is what I think.
But what happened to the? Okay, so do we think that it is a contingency where someone has to live in the vault, or do you think he took it upon himself to go into the vault? Like, I guess
No.
I'm saying, did he trade someone out, or did he make up this job?
No, I think that's the actual job, but I don't think that was his job. I said that from the beginning. I was like, they wouldn't pick someone like Solo to be the shadow of the IT. So what's actually happening here?
Yeah. And then it makes you wonder, like, did he kill them, or did he? I mean, just throwing stuff out there. I don't necessarily think this is what happened, but he could have incited, help be a part of like them getting turned up enough to leave because he wanted like to. You never know who profits during the like Discord. But it's stuff like that where I'm like, I'm gonna just read the fucking books. What the fuck? Like, I just want to know. But I really think that like nothing will get explained in the grand sense in the way that I'm thinking about until like season 3. I don't think we'll get like enough of like I need to know current day what the fuck got us there. That's like the part that like keeps me up at night. Just not knowing that and understand. I know we're supposed to go through the journey. I'm just saying that's the part I care about is like, how did we get here? Because I think that's like the key to a lot of what is confusing right now. But yeah, I thought they like. Oh, this is my last thing I wanted to say. I think that, how like whenever somebody does a really good performance, you're like, damn, they should get a supporting actor award. But then you're like, like they might get overlooked, or like there's only 5 things that get like an Emmy or Grammy or SB or Webby or whatever the fuck. So I want to start giving we was watching awards. And so the first We Was Watching award posthumously goes to the penguin's mom for that, like her scene where she was like losing it. And then I want to give a We Was Watching award to Steve Zahn because he really just like that was epic. And I feel like that's going to come and go in award season, but I wanted to just commemorate this moment.
Dr. D said, given the story told about his name, it may be accurate but reverse, where he is Russell's son and he gave Solo his nickname, then he took on his identity for some reason. I think that's a good theory.
Yeah.
That's a really good theory.
That's way more rational. Yeah. Like, I think we'll see. But like, I think with that outburst, it could easily be he killed somebody to get in there and then took it up. And it could just easily be like something psychopathic.
So then the last scene is Jules goes back to the apartment. She's looking around. She's moving slow as hell. She pulls off the bandage of her arm and we see how fucked up it is. She looks under the bed. She finds the helmet and then she just passes the fuck out. And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, again, they better not have nothing else where you go look and it's in the last spot you look for and there's just a blanket over it and boom, perfect, pristine helmet. Like, I don't want to see no more cookie crumbs fall into place. Like, this show has been a show of like, it comes together in like the high level jigsaw, not like in like a clean fashion, same episode. But I love this episode from the perspective of like the turn from Solo. Cause like I wasn't heavily suspicious about Solo. So I love being like, oh shit, who the fuck is this man? I love that we're getting closer to Jules going back. Like, I need her to be back to the silo by next episode. Like, I just think with everything going on, I do think that's one of the few things that stops the conflict and all the bullshit going on is Juliet like walking back in, like when Jesus rose on the 3rd day. And then I want to see that reunion with her and her father. I think that like say that she leaves the silo again after that. I think her father goes with her. And I think it'd be curious to see like a rebellion stopped for a different reason than ever in history, probably. And then I do wonder when Bernard finds out that the levels on IT and whatnot connect to other, because I like the silos are connected some kind of way. He might not know how, but like there's no way they're not built so that there's an underground passage between one of them, right? Like, I think that's what the flooded parts are, right? But I believe that like somebody at some point before the show is over is going to find a way to connect that. And so I'd just be curious when Bernard finds that out. Like I want it to be like, I don't remember his name, but the one from did you watch The Good Place?
No.
Okay, but you know the black guy?
The black guy from a show I've never watched.
Okay, but you've seen the preview.
No, I haven't. What's The Good Place? Is that the Judge show?
You're being, yeah.
Was that the show with the judge? With Misty Knight? Chanel dropped again. We'll give her a second to come back on. If not, we will close out. Her internet is wilding tonight. Okay. Chanel's dropped. Now she's utility webcam. And now she's back.
Can you hear me again?
Yes.
So William Jackson Harper was the black guy in a good place. What I want to happen is like they connect to Silo 16 and it's a guy who's dressed exactly like Bernard, but it's William Jackson Harper. It's just a black version of him. And then like they go to Silo 13 and it's it's like a woman dressed exactly like them. Like I just want them to realize there's been like on accident, there's been parallel realities in all the surviving silos. That's what I want to see. I know that's not what it is, but like that would comfort me.
Okay. If you say so. I want what you want, Chanel. I want what you want. Thank you all for listening.
What are you for the wait, sorry, we're halfway through. What are you excited for the second half?
Well, I can tell you she's not making it back to episode 9 at least. Given the way they do storytelling.
Really?
Yeah, that's not
damn, you might be right. You might be right.
I actually don't think Solo's a bad person. I don't think he's malevolent. I think he's just something's going on with him, but I don't think he's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he is going to help Jules in the end.
Yeah.
And I think Jules is going to remember what the fuck George told him. And she's going to, I think the way that she gets over, here's my prediction. The way that she gets over is she's going to fix the pump to pump all the water out. And then she's going to go down the silo and go through that fucking tunnel to get to the other silo. That's what I think is going to happen.
And she's going to make a friend in Solo by saving Solo at the same time.
Yes. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I don't know. I don't know what happens when she gets over to the other side because that could go any amount of ways.
I think they literally go, Lisa Nagaib, and they all start.
On that note, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for watching with us on this cast. Like our video and subscribe and hit that notification bell. You can also email the show at wewasdragonspod@gmail.com. Tell us any theories you have for the show, but don't spoil it if you read the books. And you can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at WeWasWatching. We'll be back next week for episode 7 of Silo.
Will we be back next week for Christmas?
It's before. We record before Christmas. Christmas not till Wednesday.
We'll be back at some point because I have to talk to you. We'll be back before the new year.
See, you see how she do me? You see how she do? Sorry,
guys.
I'm not even gonna let you say your stupid Lions joke because they lost, so you don't get to say it.
Okay, how do you want to end the episode then?
All right, go ahead and say something stupid.
Dr. Depp, thanks for being here on the stream. Like we stream Mondays, Tuesdays usually, so like check us out. Like who was it on X? Hold on, it's worth bringing up at How Now Spirit. Thank you for checking in. Like they will be like, hey, when the fuck are y'all streaming? And we'll be like, all right, we're streaming at 10. Like, you know, you can do that. You can set the alarm bell so that you know we're streaming. We really appreciate you guys being here. So just want to shout you out. Thank you to Vanessa and Nick from Philly and anyone else who has, and also people who sent me separate donations. Thank you for everyone who's donated. You know, hey, this holiday season, remember, you're not alone. Even Solo now has a friend. So don't be siloed. Don't, you know, if you ever need someone, just turn us on and listen to an episode. And we look forward to seeing you in maybe 2 weeks.
Thank you all.